Hi, and welcome to GAH Consulting's Build a Business Workshop. We're going back about 2 weeks, and we are retaping the What's in the Name workshop because it was on mute when we did the original workshop. Okay, my name is Gayla Henry Walker. I am the CEO of GAH Consulting. GAH Consulting provides life business coaching services, business consulting. Okay, we're working out all the kinks. Okay, let's start again. Okay, we are starting again. Now we know that you guys can hear me. So we have to go through a couple of testing. Sure, caught me right in the middle of my speak right up. Okay. Wait, 1 second, 1 second. This is one of my life coaching clients, and so I'm going to edit out all of this. So I apologize for those of you who are watching right now. You can see this. I will delete it when the time comes for me to bring it over onto the recorded side. Okay? My apologies. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. You caught me in the middle of this thing. I hate you too. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. There, well, it's across the board. Because they hold that against you forever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be, right? Your thoughts are always harder. Wait, I gotta go. I'll call you back after I finish taking. It's going to be about 2.5 hours, okay? All right, bye-bye. My apologies once again. As I said, my name is Gayle Henry Walker, and I am the CEO of GAH Consulting. GAH Consulting provides life and business coaching support services, business consulting services, mentorship, and other business building programs and resources to help individuals, entrepreneurs, and small businesses to start and or grow their business and to bring about a balance in between their life and business life. Okay? This is the Build a Business Workshop, which is the education division within GH Consulting. We just recently started this program, so we're working out all the kinks. And so for everyone who is watching and is participating in these live workshops, interruptions that they might be. Just most of the time I am working, and so when a life coaching client may call, even during this workshop, I will take it because sometimes it's extremely important. Okay, so let's get down to what this particular workshop is about and why is a okay. This workshop is a continuation of 2 weeks ago, which was the What's in a Name workshop that I did. And when we did that workshop live, it was roughly about 2 hours and 15 or 20 minutes. But somehow the volume went away during the entire session. And so I apologize about that again. And we're retaking it this time because it is an important factor when you're building a business. And so we can't go about skipping anything. And I did not get an opportunity to retake and just upload the video during the last 2 weeks because I've been pretty busy. I, I run a couple of companies and it's been quite a couple of 2 weeks. It's been quite a couple of weeks, okay? So, and what's in the name? What this particular workshop is about is I wanted to give you guys some information about how to go about choosing a name, the different ways that you can go about putting forth your ideas for naming your company and make sure that when you come out with an actual name, you do it in a way that is not necessarily structured, but you end up with a name that's going to help your company to not just focus on what you're doing now, but it will also be a name that's going to be able to translate, go about growing in your company, growing in your products, growing in your services. And so I'm here to help you make sure that when you do it in a way where it's very short-sighted, where you name it according to that particular service that or product you're offering right now, because you never know what the future holds. You just may end up broadening your horizons and bringing on more opportunities, more products, more services. And so you'll have a mixture. And you want to make sure that your name is going to be able to grow along with your company. Okay? So what a name should do for your company is it should embody your company's values and your company's characteristics. Okay? So it's the feeling of your company. Is it serious? Is it fun? Is it a mixture of both? Your name your name can embody both sides of whatever the personality of your business is. Okay? You want to make sure that the values of your company. You want to try to see if you are able to get the values of your company to come out of, come through the name that you've decided to choose for your company. So if you have a company that is really serious, lawyers, consulting, and things along that nature, your name, you wouldn't want a name that um, errs on the side of funny or jovial, right? You want people to take you seriously, so you're going to create a name that people will be able to take seriously, and they're not going to look at that name and go, what were they thinking? Okay? So you want it to embody your company's values and the personality of your company. As I said before, the next thing that you want to make sure that your name does is you want your name to last for a lifetime. And in order for your name to last for a lifetime, it cannot be a name that's extremely short-sighted or fits into the a long shelf life. You don't want it to be short-sighted. You don't want it to be a name that you have now, and then you're going to end up having to do a complete rebranding of your company, and rebranding and renaming of your company. And we're going to go over a couple of big time companies that had to go about rebranding and renaming their company and why they did it in the way that they did. Okay? So one of the things that you want to make a decision on when you're naming your company is you want to decide whether or not you want to fit into the market that you're penetrating, or if you want to stand out from the market that you're penetrating. And if you want to fit in, there's certain things that you should do, and if you want to stand out, there's a certain approach that you should take to do that. Okay. If you want to stand out, you want to choose a name that's going to allow you to set yourself aside from everyone else that's in that marketplace right now. One of the things that we know is for companies like lawyers, consultants, and banks, they tend to have extremely serious but simple names that either goes along with whoever is the founder, or they choose a name that is safe. The word is safe. Safe means when someone sees it, it's kind of like GH Consulting. That's kind of like I'm a consulting company. And so one of the things that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to go out too far, but I also named it with the acronym from my name. Okay? But I didn't just stop there. What I knew that I had a long-term plan. And my long-term plan was to do this. I might have the company for the business name. However, divisions and programs that branches off from the company, so that's created within the company, has their own identity. Each division or each program that's being developed is being developed with its own name, its own look, its own feel, its own personality. Okay, so the Build a Business Workshop. The Build a Business Workshop, the color scheme, and how we go about branding. Build a Business Workshop, which is the education division within GH Consulting, is completely different than the color scheme, the look and feel of GH Consulting. Okay, so I'm giving you that as an example so that you can see the difference. And if you look along the bottom of my third, if you look along the bottom and you will see the third lower, you will see the Build a Business Workshop and its color scheme. And if you know what GH Consulting's logo looks like, you can take a look at the GH.TV icon that you use as the logo brand for the channel, you get an idea of what in it, okay? So there's a difference, but there's elements that gets taken out of the color scheme from the main company and brought over into the division and the branding of, even though I'm talking about this and this workshop is about naming, it's important to know how you're going to go about naming anything that comes next. Okay, how you're going to go about doing what comes next, because things are always going to come next. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have the I have it where it branches off from that. Okay, so for you, if you don't want to go and do branch off, if you're not going to have different divisions that's going to have their own, you know, personalities and their own names and, have their own target markets, then what you're going to want to do is make sure you establish a name that will be able to carry on and carry forth no matter how you grow, no matter how many service lines you bring on, and no matter how many products you bring into the company. Okay, so when the company grows, your name should be able to go along with it. You want it to have a very long shelf life. So take that into consideration when you decide to do that. Okay. Okay. So if you want to stand out, you can stand out through your color scheme. You can stand out through your name. So your name and the color scheme will go together to create a brand and look and feel of your company. So for the name, if you want to stand out, then you can use certain, you can do certain things, and we're going to go over that right now. If you want to stand out, we already pretty much talked about what to do if you just want to fit in. If you want to fit in, you do something that is safe, or you don't go all the way over onto into the left field, because you want to make sure that you stay safe with the name of your company, so that at no point you can offend anyone, or anyone can look at the name and say that this name is the same as, like you take something from another company, and things along that nature. So fitting in means playing it safe and doing your research and homework to make sure that the name that you're taking is not going to be offensive, and it's not something that's going to piggyback off of someone else's company that's already in existence, because they're a big company, they're known. You're going to brand your brand like theirs so that people would look at it as something similar, think that it's a part of them, okay? Because that's done a lot, and no one really likes it, and a lot of lawsuits end up ensuing from doing things like that. Okay, so you always want to make sure that whatever you do, you stay true to your company and be original. Okay, you want to pick names that will allow you. One of the things that you can do is you can pick a name that allows you to play on words. Play with words. You can use themes to name your company and its brands that go along with it, like your blog. You can play around with the wording for the blog if you want to do something a little different. You have the name of your company, but the things that the extensions of the company, blogs, social media pages, talk radio, YouTube channel, and things along that nature. You can use themes to name it, like you know, if your company is about food, right? And say you a particular type of service, you establish certain names. So one of the examples that I chose to use for this is Eat My Dust, right? So that's the name of the fictitious company that I came up with. It's Eat My Dust. And when you think about Eat My Dust, and I chose to use this one, and I came up with this one for a particular reason, because there's two ways that this can go, right? So when I named it Eat My Dust, for me, I thought about something in particular. I thought about cleaning, right? So it's either carpet cleaning or just a cleaning company. Because when you think about dust, you think about cleaning companies. And that's what it is. It was a carpet cleaning company or just a cleaning company. So information on how a company can grow and expand, or you can expand on that name in the future, right? So Eat My Dust, carpet cleaning company, or just a regular cleaning company. Okay? So if whether it's a carpet cleaning company or a regular cleaning company, one of the things that you can do is if you have a blog, the blog can be called Dusty Roads, right? So it's a theme, it's a cleaning theme. So even though the name of your company is Eat My Dust, the name of your blog does not have to be Eat My Dust blog. The name of your blog can go along with the theme of your company. The theme, you can take a theme from the name that you made your company. So, you're going along the lines with the whole dust thing, right? So, Eat My Dust is the name of the company, whether it's a carpet cleaning company or just a regular cleaning company. Eat My Dust is the name of the company, but the blog and any of the other social media um, options that you're going to use can play on the that particular extension of the company. So the Dusty Roads can be for the blog. The blog, the talk radio, your YouTube channel, your Pinterest account, because Dusty Roads can mean many things. It doesn't limit you to carpet cleaning if it's a carpet cleaning company. It is that talk radio show or whatever is always going to be consisting of anything that has to do with cleaning, whether it's services, whether it's products, whether it's news, whether it's announcements. We know that whatever stems from those channels, those branding options, those those media options that you're going to go out, we know that the information that's going to come back from those are going to focus around cleaning, right? Whether it's products or services, we know it's going to focus around cleaning. Okay, so that's that was the best example that I could come up for you, because let me show you how this company Eat My Dust, and let's put it as a carpet cleaning company. That's the service that we decided to offer when we opened up this company, right? So it's Clean My Dust Carpet Cleaning Company. But a year, 6 months now, services for the home, right? Or office. And so a new line of service emerges from the carpet cleaning services that we My Dust easily translates over into other services or other product options that products that if you decide to do products, Eat My Dust will definitely translate well, because if you have a cleaning solution, it would be eat my dust, and then you brand the cleaning solution. If it's a mop, if it's a broom, if it's whatever type of product it is, you can have Eat My Dust, and then there can be an extension of that on there, so it carries over extremely well. It will also carry over extremely well for a just if you're branching off into now you're offering um, cleaning services, right? Aside from you doing your carpet cleaning, you're now offering right? So it's cleaning services, right? And then the cleaning services, you do not have to brand it home or office or whatever. You just brand it cleaning services, and that way now you can offer other cleaning services to your company, but you did not have to do a rebranding of your name. You simply added an extension to. So that is how you that is the brand of thinking that you want to have when you're going about naming your company, so that you don't want to limit yourself. You just really don't want to limit yourself, which is why banks and consulting services and law offices, even though they choose safe names and things that out of the box, it's pretty straightforward, is because it change our services, we cannot change to add services and or products to our businesses. We never really have to change the name. Okay? So you have a wonderful example as to how you can pick a name that's themed based or but also a play on words. Dusty Roads, right? And Eat My Dust. So that is a great example, and from that example, you can use that, and that can help you to come up with your name, because you just don't have to go with your own name. You can go with themes, or what is your company going to be about, even if it's a particular service that you're offering now, particular product you're offering now. What are other ways or unique ways that you can create a new name from that, right? How can you create a theme around that in a way where you will be able to grow from that and not just get stuck with Joe's cleaning, Joe's carpet cleaning company. If you get Joe's carpet cleaning company, what's going to happen when you need to start cleaning office buildings and start cleaning, when more and more people are asking you to send someone to, clean their home that moves from carpet cleaning and also does upholstery cleaning, cleaning up furniture, cleaning out blinds or heavy, you know, all things like that. You never know what the future is going to hold. You never know what your customers are going to want you to do for them next, right? Because if you do an excellent job, then your name is going to help you to not have to keep rebranding every single time, because it won't make much sense. So you want to choose a name that's easily mutable and transferable no matter what the service line is that you're offering attention to it. Okay, so yeah, you have the Joe's Carpet Cleaning Company. You don't want to have the Joe. Then you take a step back and you look at a name that's going to encompass many things that deals with the cleaning world, right? And so theme your name according to the world and according to the market that you're about to step into, that you're trying to penetrate. Okay, that's the best advice that I can give you. It's going to be easily transferable and will grow with your company. one of the things that I want to tell you is it would be um, it's a bad idea most of the time to use puns when it comes to naming your company. Rarely does it work. Sometimes, yeah, you really have to do something extremely great in order for those puns to work out. We've seen many names go down with the worst name in history to come up. That companies actually came up with the name of their company because they thought that, you know, it was going to be also funny to people. It might be funny to you, but it won't be funny to the people who have to see that name and pronounce that name, okay, or say that name. Depending on what you make your words look like, no one's going to want to say what your company is, and that all depends on who your target market is. Whether you're going for the younger generation that don't really care about whether or not the words that you use are questionable, or you're going for mature, you know, words. Because if they are, they're not going to find, you know, certain words as funny as the younger generation. Okay, so do your thing, do your homework, and do yourself a favor, and don't go to going to end up having to apologize for. If your employees or you have to apologize consistently to people about the name of your company, you named your company wrong. You did something wrong. You can't, you don't want to have to apologize for your company and what you chose to name it. And your employees, and when you have them, they don't want to go about apologizing. I apologize for the name, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I do understand that that name is offensive. Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry. Who wants to keep apologizing? No one wants to keep saying they're sorry 24/7, for 8 hours or 9 hours a day that they're working within your company. Okay? No one wants to. So think about that when you're naming your company. You, they matter. They matter. They matter. They matter. They matter a lot. Okay? I'm just checking on this. All right. Okay. So, as I said, the rule of thumb to naming your business is if you have to apologize for the name of your company, don't use it. If you have to apologize or your employees have to apologize for the name of your company, do not use it. But if you want to use it anyways, then this is just a suggestion. Here, we can't tell you what to do. We're not going to beat you down and say you did this, you did that. That's not what we're here for. That's not what Build a Business is about. We're here to try and help you to make sure that when you build your company, you build a company not only that you can be proud of, but that's going to continue to grow throughout the years. And naming your company is something that Once you choose that name, whether you give it up later on down the line or not, it is something that's still going to be attached to you for as long as the company is in existence. Okay? Your name, you want to make it strong, simple, meaningful. Those are the best names. The best names are strong, they're simple, they're meaningful. Okay? YouTube, strong, simple, meaningful. What does it mean? You, you are the person who ends up on the tube, which is now you are the creator of your own channel, television station, program, movie, whatever. You are in control. YouTube, it's your station, right? Pinterest, meaningful, simple, strong. What's Pinterest? You pin anything you're interested in. Pictures that it's pinned to a warehouse, to a database that people are interested in. And then they can share those things that interest them with the world. Okay? Simple. Notice Pinterest, it, it's simple. It, it's not a name that they chose that they ever need to change because they don't. It's pin your interest. Pinterest. Pinterest. Pinterest is pin your interest. Right? So they never have to name it again because no matter what your interest is, just pin it. They never have to rename their company. Great brand, great name. It's a great name for a brand. You never have to change it because no matter what you pin on there, it won't matter. You can pin images, you can pin videos, it doesn't matter. So no matter the what products or what the product is or what it is that you want to do within that environment, it won't matter. They never have to change the name. Porns, there's pictures, there's videos, there's all kinds of things on there. They never have to change the name. Strong, meaningful, simple. Okay? As I said this before, one second. Okay, I said this before and I'm going to say it again. Do your best not to use someone else's name, whether you want to put a twist on it or not, because all that says to people who see it is you do not have your own identity, so you have to steal one. Don't use someone else's name. Don't use someone else's name and then put a spin on it. We see many companies that come up after a company has been successful doing something. And then the next thing you know is you have other companies that come in and, okay, you're doing the same thing, but they name it something so similar to the name, it's ridiculous. You look at it and all you can think of when you initially see it is copycat, right? Copycat. That's the first thing that comes into your mind when you see something that looks like someone else's. Copycat. You totally just, you know, you took that from someone else. You're not even original. And so a lot of times what happens is, why am I supposed to use you? You're not even original, right? The only way that that ends up working is if the software, the platform, the product, the service, or whatever it is that you're offering is extremely good, and people will once they give you a chance, they'll be okay with it. They might not still be okay with the name, but they'll still be okay with the product, service, or whatever it is that you're offering because they want it, they like it, they need it. Okay? But try your best not to take the the name of another company and then put a spin on it. That's not original. Try to be as an original as you can. It's one thing if you opt to use the acronym of your name and your name acronym matches someone else's. Okay, there's nothing you can do about that. But you still end up changing something in there to add something to it so that you can purchase that name, right? Not just the domain name, but the business name as well. But if it's at all possible, try not to use the name that someone else has. But even more so important, don't take their name and take the look of their brand as well. That's just creepy, okay? And that's just wrong because what you're doing is you want to, we already know what companies like that do, what they're doing, and why they do it. They do it because they know that people are going to recognize that brand, whether it's an icon or a color or the acronym of the name, and so they know that people are going to recognize that. So when people recognize it, they're going to automatically go there, and it's when they get to your business, it's when they get to your website, it's when they get to whatever it is that you're advertising. That's when they're going to realize that it's not who you are, not who they thought you were. And then most people get annoyed. But then what you're figuring, what happens is you'll figure once they're there, they're already there. They might as well take a look around. Well, some people will, but just know that some people won't, and some people will find that extremely annoying, and they will feel duped. And the last thing that you want is the first impression that a person or a potential customer gets from you is feeling duped. Then that means right off the bat, trust level is gone or non-existent or it won't even happen. Okay, or it's going to take a long time to get them to trust you. If and but once you lose trust, the likelihood of you ever getting it back, highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Okay, I'm going to pause right now. I can't stop the video, but I'm going to pause right now for one moment, please. This part is going to come out of the video, by the way. So thanks for those of you who are watching it, was able to work along with me. I am in the work area, so when there's going to be sounds that are too loud that I don't want taking over the words, I'm going to pause and things along that nature because right now we do not yet have a studio. So my office is the studio. Okay. All right. So we went over. Try your best not to steal someone else's, company information. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to talk about. One second. Okay, so once you choose your name and you gather, before you go about getting the business license and everything for the name that you've chosen, you want to see if you're going to be able to carry that name across as many brands, as many platforms as you can, right? So you also want to see if you can grab that name for your domain name. Now, here's the thing, for a domain name, it does not have to match exactly to the company's name that you have. It really don't because more and more, if you're starting your company now, the likelihood that the name that you might want, the short version of the name that you might want, it may be taken. So you don't know whether or not the domain name in itself is going to be available. But before you go through the process of purchasing, establishing your LLC and all that. Still, before you do that, also check and see if you're going to be able to get that name for your domain name. And if you're not going to get that name for your domain name, go ahead and play around and see if there's a name that you can come up with, whether it's themed based or, you know, product based, where if you're going to stay within a certain product line, but, keep moving up and up and up, whether it's rooms or things like that, you can create something around that name, right? So if you can do that, then you have the domain name that you're going to choose, and you can have that unlocked before you go about starting anything, right? So this is the beginning stages. So you want to get the name down, right? You want to get the name that you're going to have for your company. You want to get your domain name down, and then you want to also establish names for the different resources and programs and platforms that's going to come out of your company. So your blog and newsletters and things along that nature, you want to get your name. You want to just have everything pretty much laid out and set up for yourself before you move on to the next stage, which is building the business. Now it's actually going through the process of registering the business and all of that. So before you get to that, you want to get as many of the things that you need to get through worked out for yourself so that it's going to be an easy transition because you already have done the research, the homework, and has already begun building the process of being able to let that now move to the next stage. Before you can get to the next stage, you first have to deal with the stage that you're in now. So you do everything that you need to do within this stage so that you can move on. Okay? So once you have that name, then you go and you do your search to see if you can find the domain name. And if you cannot find the domain name, then what you can do is look to see if figure out how you can get as close to the name as possible, or maybe it's time to start, you know, working on the theming, your name. So that's something that you can think about. So work that out. You can work that out from the remember when in the earlier on in the beginning with the Eat My Desk, you know, name of the business and things like that. So take that example and, you know, see how you can let that example or an example like that work for you, how you can go about doing that for yourself. And then you go through the process of once you have that name, then you establish a domain name. Then you search and see if that domain name is available. And if it is available, great. If it's not, see how you can work that, move that, make it work for you and fit within the parameters that you need it to fit within. Okay. One of the things that you want to do, especially when it comes up with the domain name, and you might have an idea, okay, that the way that I spell my company name is not available. Maybe I can spell it differently, and you know, then I can get that name. Well, see, here's the thing with that. You want to make sure that you do your best to try and not to spell the name too different than what the name is. It's one thing if it's a one word name, like Flickr. Flickr isn't spelled the way that it's supposed to because they left the E out and just have Flickr, right? Google Plus. Google Plus has Google and then it has the plus sign. It doesn't necessarily have, well, it has the plus sign when it comes to when you're establishing the name, but they still named it plus Google, right? So they still named the word out so you can get to Google Plus using plus Google or Google and the plus sign. But the logo that they came up with for their Google Plus side, right? So the name that they came up with for the Google Plus side is that for their brand they put the plus sign on the upper right hand corner of the word Google. Okay, and then the company Dig, what they did was they added an extra G to the end of the name, so it makes their company name DIGG, not just DIG, because more than likely DIG was taken. So they said add another G, it's not going to make a difference. The name is still going to be Dick. And they did that and it worked because, but marketing it. And for it to be, they made it still strong, simple, meaningful, right? So and it's only three letters. And so it was easily transferable. It's easily recognizable. And people were able to digest that. But if you're expecting them to digest an entire, like something that is extremely misspelled, that's not going to be so easily digestible. One letter or two letter off or changed is one thing. An entire word, or almost the entire word being changed, that's something completely different. Okay, that may not work in your best interest. It's going to be confusing to people, and when people get confused, what happens? They also get frustrated because confusion leads to frustration, and when their confusion leads to frustration, they're not even going to try anymore because most people search for things by, they type something into the search field. So if they're looking for your company and your company name is this, but you spelled your name differently than the word disc is spelled, unless you've been doing some extremely great, okay, unless you've been doing some extremely great SEO optimization on your website, blog, social media, you're consistently posting, and uploading on your social media platforms, it's going to be hard for people to find you, especially if you're new. If you're new, the likelihood of you having all that stuff in order to be able to rise to the top of the search engine is highly unlikely, right? So you want to make sure that you don't put yourself at a huge disadvantage when you're just starting out. So just know that it's okay to make the name not be spelt in the way most that the word is actually spelled. It's okay, but don't do it to the point where the word or the name is unrecognizable from the original word. Okay? That's pretty much putting it into the simplest form that I can for you. Don't stray too far, extremely far from the original spelling of the word. It's going to make it too hard for people to be able to find you or search for you because they're not going to know ahead of time. They're not going to remember how to spell your name from the brand. They're just going to remember the name that you are, and they're going to spell it the way that they've known it to be spelled. Okay? Okay. I did on here. I put your name may already be taken, and so look for other options. We went over that already. The different options that you can have is you can choose to theme it now and do a theme-based name for your domain name based on the service or product um, market, the market that you're going into, okay, or your product line. Then, okay, you can do the longer name. You can do phrases. You can choose to use foreign words instead. That means the same thing or capture something unique about your company, right? Because people use foreign names all the time for their company. If they use foreign names because the actual name of their company has been taken, right? So if the actual name has been taken, then the if the actual name has been taken, one of the things that they do is they just opt to use a longer name. Okay, we're gonna pause. I'm gonna pause it right now, where I'm just gonna stop talking for a minute, and some things are gonna happen, and then I'll come back. Okay. Okay. You want to try not to. Okay, so we went over, go ahead and look for foreign names that mean the same thing as your company and see if it's something that can work for you, right? It's worked for other companies, so see if it can and will work for you. Okay, try not to get caught up on the latest trends and buzzwords when it comes to your business, okay? Because latest trends and buzzwords are for things that's going on right now. Trend, the word trend in itself lets you know that the likelihood of you being able to let that name live on for a long time is going to be highly unlikely. Trend means what's happening now, trendy now. So those things aren't meant for future thinking, forward moving. It's meant for now. So if you're gonna do things based on trends and things along that nature, then just don't use it for the name of your company. Use it for different things that you're gonna do within the company, social media and marketing wise, to tap into the people you need to tap into at that given moment in time, based on marketing. So do that, do trends and keywords and buzzwords and things along that nature. Do that in your keyword when you're doing keywords on, building up keywords for your website, right? Or blog or keywords that you're going to put into your YouTube channels and your videos and things like that. That's fine to use buzzwords and you know and things that's in trend right now, but not for your business name. Your business is not a trend. Your business might be a trend setter, but it is not a trend. It is not a fly by night operation that you there's it's definitely in your mind not a fly by night operation, especially not if you're going to be taking as much time as you need to take in order to establish that company, in order to build that company. So after laying all the groundwork, you surely don't want to end up making a mistake by naming your company that is short sighted and short lived. Then how is that name going to translate and mean something to people later on down the road? It's not going to work. It's not going to happen, right? Because what you did was you decided to name your company something that was in that moment in time something that everybody was into. But we know how fickle people are and how finicky they are. It's really easy. A trend can last a day, a week, a month, but a trend is not something that's going to last forever. A trend may last for a long time because you get to see what's trending, you get to see how, what's the trend of something. But just know as you're watching how something, of the trend of a business or a trend of whatever, you're going to see that during that course in time that you're looking in that block in time, it changed it 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 mutated into something else, right? But your company name cannot mutate into something else and keep mutating into something else. You don't want to keep renaming your company. Okay, rename your company once or twice, but you don't want to make it a habit of keep renaming your company because you keep naming your company something that is short-lived, that's in the moment, and very short-sighted. Okay, long term. Your business is long term. It might work to for products and services that you can sell or promote within a given period of time where something is trending. That's fine. But your name is not the name of your company, and your company itself is not something that's supposed to keep changing. Your company in itself is going to consistently change and mutate according to the needs of the market, right? But your name should not be one of the things that consistently needs to keep changing or grow, or changing, growing, whatever you want to call it. Your name needs to be something that has a long shelf life and that will translate easily and move easily into the future. Okay? Look beyond .coms. So if you didn't find the name that you initially wanted under the .com, right? Then look beyond the .com. It doesn't. Your business name, your domain name does not have to stop at .com. There's so many things that's out there now. You have .consult, .info, .edu, .org, .net. We have .biz, .consult, .co, even though .co. Okay, here's the thing about .co. .co is not really .co. When we think of CO in the United States, we think of the acronym for company, right? Well, that's really not what it's meant for, but that's what we use it for. The .co is actually a top level domain name for a country, but it's available to be used, and so we don't really care what what the basis of the top level domain name was initially created for. We just knew you just the only thing you really need to care about is the fact that it will work for you at not just at that time, it will work for you because it will allow you to be able to take the name that you have and use it with that extension, that domain name extension. So we have top level domain name extension and then we have lower domain name extensions, okay? And then they have the prime ones, and the prime ones, you have to pay quite a bit of money for the primes. Okay? So, yep, just check out all of the options that you have that's available to you. There are many, many more than what I listed. There are many more than what I listed. So it's worth you checking it out. So go on to whether it's GoDaddy or whoever the hosting company is that you're going to go with, go through them and take a look and see what domain extensions are available to you that you can, once you like, even if you just go to GoDaddy to check out what's available, right? You can just put the name that you want in and then you hit OK and then it'll tell you .com is taken, .info is taken, .net is taken, but then it will list all the things that are not taken and what's available to you under the name that you want to use. Okay? So go ahead and check that out and make sure that you do that. But don't limit yourself on the .coms the same way we don't want you to limit your company and your brand. Okay. Okay. Next thing, you don't want to limit your brand or your company name. You don't want to limit it to a name that is too rigid and descriptive. So we went over that thing about Joe's carpet cleaning, right? That's very rigid and descriptive. It's extremely descriptive because of the carpet cleaning that ended up on the name, right? It's not like it was called Joe Lewis Enterprise. It wasn't. It's called Joe's Carpet Cleaning. So it's very descriptive. The word carpet cleaning makes it extremely, extremely, extremely descriptive. So it makes it extremely descriptive. And that's going to limit you. And the it limited Joe in the exercise that we went over earlier, where his customers then began to ask him about cleaning their office space, cleaning their homes. And then he, you know, now that he's doing more and more of those things, so he's added a new service line, added, you know, new service lines, probably added if he chose to make now create his own products, right? To use when performing those services. Now he's created products, so he's added a product line just as he's added new service lines. Now Joe's carpet cleaning no longer works because Joe's carpet cleaning is no longer Joe's carpet cleaning. It's the same exact thing as the example I'm about to present to you right now. Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza and Pizza Hut had the same problem. Okay? The problem that Domino's Pizza and Pizza Hut has is when they named their company, the company's name was extremely descriptive, right? Domino's wasn't descriptive, but what came next was extremely descriptive: pizza, Domino's Pizza. So now it's been, God knows how many years later it's been. So it's many years later. And they started offering new service lines because they had to change with the times. More and more companies were coming up that had a mixture of products that they were offering to customers, and it fell in line with the same products that they themselves had, right? So what they had to do now is now they had to start offering people things more than just pizza because people wanted more than just pizza. So now Pizza Hut and Domino's, they now sell chicken. Pizza Hut actually offers even something more. They do pasta meals. So they have different types of pasta. They have pizza, they have pastas, they have chicken, and they also have desserts. These are not things that they had when they initially started their company. They their company and their company grew. Their brand didn't, but their company service lines and service offerings, product offerings, those things grew. But their name, their brand remained the same until they realized they had to do something different because they didn't want to just be seen and be known as Domino's Pizza and Pizza Hut. So they these two companies, I'm giving you these two examples because the amazing thing is these two companies chose two completely different avenues of going about branding, rebranding themselves and their product lines. Okay? Domino's Pizza, let's do Pizza Hut first. So what Pizza Hut did was instead of the Pizza Hut, we all know them as Pizza Hut. There was no way that Pizza Hut was going to change their name to anything else. We know them as Pizza Hut. They've been Pizza Hut forever. So you can't take pizza out of it. You'd only be left with Hut. You can't add a new name in there because then people are going to be confused and they are accustomed to the brand Pizza Hut. So what Pizza Hut decided to do was they kept the name Pizza Hut, but what they did was the same thing that I did with the the different divisions and product lines, service lines, product lines that coming out that came out of my company, being birthed out of my company, and the service lines that's being birthed out of it. They branded the different products. So you have, so what it is you have Pizza Hut and their chicken. We know that Pizza Hut, when you hear the word Wing Street, it took a while, but people began to wonder, people began to link the brand, people began to accept the because once they decided that they were going to start doing the wings, the chicken wings, they opted to name it Wing Street. And so when they named it Wing Street, they did a lot of branding. They did a lot of branding so that, for quite some time for people to get accustomed to the name of the brand and to be able to link the Wing Street brand with Pizza Hut because they, it, the name of that brand is Wing Street. That it does have the Pizza Hut name on there, but what's prevalent, what's out there is the name Wing Street because that's what they want them to remember. Because they're remember what they're doing is they're branding the different product lines. So they did a great job with that. And then they have the pasta sides. I can't remember the pasta sides, right? They have pasta sides, and so they did that. Let me pull that up because I didn't pull it up. Hmm. Okay, Pizza Hut serving. Pizza Hut server is down right now. Hmm. Oh, that's odd. Hmm. Okay, Pizza Hut server is down. So can't go on there. But now, Pizza Hut also offers those pasta sides, and they have a name that they have for those pasta sides as well. So they branded that, right? And so that's how they went about the dilemma of now what? We have a name that we've now grown. Not that they've grown out of the name, but they've grown when it comes to their product line, right? And so they opted to not totally demolish the name that they've built up. So they've taken so many years to build up a reputation, build up brand recognition for their company. They opted not to do away with that. All they did was they looked and they took a step back and started to think outside of the box. And instead of changing the company name and then having to go through the arduous task of rebranding and having people to connect their company to a whole new name, they opted they just simply opted to do the next best thing, which was brand the products and then link the name to the product. Eventually, the people will catch on, especially when they advertise, they market it, they market it extremely hard for the different product lines that they bring out, the ones that's really important, they brand it. They go really hard in on branding. They go really hard in on brand recognition. They go really hard in on marketing so that brand recognition can take place and can take place quickly when it comes to their their product lines and linking the name of the product lines to the main company, which is Pizza Hut. Okay, so that's how Pizza Hut just opted to fix the dilemma that they had within their company. Now, Domino's, the second company that we're referencing, chose to do it differently, right? They didn't do it the same way that Pizza Hut did because they didn't have to. Okay, I'm sure that it was one of the options that they had to keep the name Domino's Pizza, but they didn't because What they realized and what they recognized was that people, when it comes to their brand and their brand recognition, the thing that people recognize the most, and people, the thing that the name that people used for them the most was Domino's. Most people did not use the whole name Domino's Pizza, right? You'd hear Domino's Pizza on the commercials and things along that nature. And people, yeah, in the beginning, at first, people called them Domino's Pizza, but after a while, people stopped calling them Domino's Pizza. And for short, where you go, we're going to Domino's. You didn't say we're going to Domino's Pizza, we're going to Domino's, right? So whoever did their branding did a great thing, and let them know that. And that's because that let them know that they did not have to change their entire name. They did not have to keep the word pizza onto their name, because Domino's Pizza wasn't one word. It was two words. It was always separate. When they named it Domino's Pizza. And Domino's and Pizza, the two names were separate. Domino's had its own look and feel, so the word Domino's in itself had its own brand already. It was branded as Domino's already. So what they did was they went through the process of rebranding their company's name by dropping the word pizza and just kept the name Domino's. That's what people knew them as anyway. No one, there was no cut. The likelihood is very small that there was any confusion with customers when they dropped off the word pizza off their company name. It it allowed their company to make an extremely smooth transition when it came to rebranding, because they really didn't have to rebrand it. All they did was say Domino's Pizza is now just Domino's. That's what we called you anyway, right? So that was smart. They didn't realize what they were doing when they did it in the beginning. When they probably didn't realize what they did when they named it what they named it in the beginning, how they went about naming it. But what they did helped them to make sure that their company did not have to go through an excruciatingly painful rebranding for their customers, because their customers had already their customers already knew their brand. They had extremely high brand recognition. So it would have been extremely painful for them to do away with the name. They didn't have to. They could have, all they did was to just drop the pizza. They kept Domino's, and so now Domino's Pizza is just Domino's, because Domino's sells pizza, chicken. They don't do pasta sides. So it's pizza, chicken, hmm, snacks. I mean, not snacks, desserts, and things along that nature. Okay, so their product lines grew. Both companies, two companies, doing the same thing, had the same issue, but chose to respond to the issue differently. But both companies, although they although they chose to do it differently, do the rebranding differently, they both came away without having to give up their brand recognition, which is the most important thing. They did not have to sacrifice on brand recognition, because brand recognition is extremely hard to build. And once you build it, you absolutely do not want to lose that. You don't want to lose it. Under no circumstances do you want to lose it. Okay? So that's the example that I'm giving you for how to go about rebranding without harming your company, your brand, or causing disruption with your customer base. But that's why it's extremely important. Just learn from them, learn from other companies that have to go through the rebranding process. You won't have to go through the rebranding process if when you choose the name for your business, choose a name that's going to
be mutable, that's going to be easily transferable, and that will grow with your company as your company grows. So as your company grows, as its service line grows, as its product line grows, well, so does its brand. So does its brand. Let your brand be able to grow along with your company, its services, its products, and any other programs or resources that can and may come from it or through it. Okay? If you establish a strong, simple, and meaningful name in the beginning, then all you have to do is to just keep going through with the name as you add on service lines and product lines and things along that nature. Not necessarily service lines, but you can brand service lines as well. You can brand those different, anything that you want to highlight, you can brand those things and then link it to the company and the company's brand that's already in existence and is already known by your customers, or even people who are not your customers but have seen your brand along the way over the years. They still get an opportunity to recognize it, even though they didn't realize what they were recognizing. Okay? So keep that in mind, keep that in mind, and keep these two examples, Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut, in mind when you go about choosing your name. And if you've already chosen your name and you're a business who's already in business, then use those two companies as examples as to how you can go about rebranding your own company, rebranding your own brand. Because same issue, handle it in two completely different ways. Okay? So you have two sides of the coins, two options that you can go about using to rebrand your own company. You can rebrand the products or service lines, or you can rebrand the company in itself by changing the name, by removing something or adding something to it. Okay? Okay, we're going to take a look and see what we have on the books for, because we're behind, right? Because we're behind, I have to take a look and see what the next workshop is supposed to be. Okay, one second. Okay. Okay, so we're going to work on it's time to build. So we're going to go over the establishing the business, business structure. We're going to work on, let's see, okay, we're going to work on the establishing business structure, registering your business, purchasing your domain name, and we're going to solidify your products and or services. So we're going to talk about what you need to do in order to hammer down what your products or services are going to be. We discussed those things in the previous workshop that we did, and it's so you have an idea, what now. And we went over, all the different things about business, whether it's product line, service line, where you're going to do it online or if you're going to do it in the storefront, in the office space, things, we went over those things. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it all up because now we're actually establishing the company. So we're working on, the title of it is going to be Time to Build. And it's going to be in two parts because there's a lot of information to give to you about building, the building of the business aspect of it. And so that's going to be split into two parts. So, we're running a week behind. Now, what I'm going to do is if I do have a chance this week to take the first half of the first workshop, I will, and then make that available to you guys to view it. And then next week we catch up by having the second half of the workshop. Next Saturday we'll do the second half of the workshop so that we can get back on track. So I'm going to do my best to see if I can let that happen, but there's no promises on that. If not, then the what we'll do from this point forward is everything gets pushed back. Okay, so we'll end up going an extra week instead of it ending on the 26th when it initially was supposed to, because last week the workshop had to be canceled. Okay, so don't forget, it's going to be time to build. We're going to work on establishing the business structure. We're going to register your business. We're going to talk about registering your business and what you need to do in order to do that. We're going to also talk about whether or not you're going to need any licensing and things along that nature and what to do if you need those. Purchasing the domain name. This on this video we spoke about, we might not even need to talk about purchasing your domain name because we already discussed that in this particular video. Okay, so for it's time, instead of going back over that all over again in the next one, we can talk about something else. We can talk more about what goes into building the business. But we already went over purchasing the domain name in this workshop. And if you need a refresher, don't forget, all you have to do is to go on to domain name purchasing company like GoDaddy or whoever is going to be hosting your web account. And hey, Gmail also offers hosting. So take a look at them. Take a look at Vistaprint, Wix, GoDaddy, one in one domain, you know, those type of companies. They offer that service. Don't forget, make sure that you don't just look for .coms if the name that you want is not in the .com. Don't be afraid to move on to other extensions. .info, .net, .consult, .edu, .biz, .org, .co. Don't forget .co. The M is left off of the .com. It leaves it with .co. .co, even though for us we think of it as the acronym for the word company, which is why most people that's pretty much why people in the United States are probably anywhere else other than the country that the name is meant for uses it. So .co can be used as well, even though it's a country code. Everyone across the world still uses it because it's also the acronym for the word company, and we use it to be able to get the domain name that we want if it's not taken on that within that extension as well. Okay, so don't be afraid to look beyond .com when it comes to extensions. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to only have .coms. People use many different extensions. It really don't matter. It's all about you marketing your company on everything that you put out on your company. Make sure your domain name is on there. Make sure your domain name is on there. Make sure your domain name is on there on everything that you put out. Ensure your domain name is on there so people will get accustomed to whatever the extension is that you have on the end. Okay? Um, I have one here about trademarking, but that's because we should have been on trademarking this week. But within one of the workshops that we're going to have, we're going to briefly go over trademarking. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do the briefly going over trademarking or if I'm going to just do a video about trademarking in itself because that is that's a big thing to tackle. And a lot of my customers actually have been asking me about trademarking lately. And so I think that what we're going to do is we're going to do a workshop video on trademarking. Not sure whether or not I'm going to make it live. It might just be one of our videos in the Build a Business Workshop series, but just know that we are going to discuss we are going to discuss trademarking and what it means for you and when to do it, why to do it, how to do it. We're going to go over it briefly in one of the workshops that fall in line in here when it comes to building the business. And then we'll have a workshop on trademarking in itself to go to delve deeper into trademarking and how to make sure that your brand is defensible, how to make your brand defensible because that's what it came from. It came from a couple of my clients wanted to know how they can make it so that their brand, their logo, their brand cannot be used by someone else. And so, I went through the process of explaining that to them, why to do it, when to do it, and if you need to do it at all. And the cost of it, the process of it, we'll delve deeper into that and we'll talk more about that as time goes along, okay? Um, I want to say, I want to bring up a couple of things. Once again, I'm going to, show you guys. This is my book. It Was Good I Was Afflicted. It's available on Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, Create Space, and other fine retailers, whether it's online or in the bookstore. You go into the bookstore and they do not have this book, you can ask them to order it and they will order it in the bookstore for you. And when it comes in, they will give you a call and you can pick the book up or they can deliver the book to you. Okay? So It Was Good I Was Afflicted by Gailey Henry Walker. It's about trials, tests, struggles, transformation, and messages from God. It's a book that I've written about the process that I went through as I had to go through my own personal transformation to end up being reborn and remade into the person that I am today, and how that process happened, why that process happened, what I went through, how I got through it, the things that I did for myself, but also the things that God has done for me, through me, and is still doing for me and through me as well. Okay? Him first, me second, because all I did was to do what I needed to do to get out of the way for him to do and accomplish what he needed to accomplish in and through me. Okay, so don't forget, It Was Good I Was Afflicted by Gailey Henry Walker is available at createspace.com, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and at other fine retailers, whether it's online or in your physical bookstores. If you go into your bookstore and it's not in there, then all you have to do is to tell them the title of the book, It Was Good I Was Afflicted, give them the name, of the author, which is Gail A. Henry Walker, and they will order the book for you, and they can have it sent to the store or they can have it delivered to your home for you. Okay, so I really appreciate all of you who have purchased my book in the past, and I want to say thank you ahead of time for those of you who will purchase my book in the future. Just want to say thank you, and the the next book, $0 Startup, is coming soon. It's a ways out. It's quite a few months away, but it is coming. It is coming. It is coming. Okay. So $0 Startup. That is where I show you how you can build a business from the ground up without spending a dime or almost nothing. Okay. All right. So now that we've dispensed with this, I just want to say thank you for watching, and not just watching live, but also watching the videos as they're uploaded onto YouTube and to Facebook and Twitter and all the other places that we upload to. I want to say thank you for doing that. I want to ask you also if you can subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our channel, please. And I've also established another channel, it's a personal channel. It's called GAH CEO Corner. So it's Gail A. Henry CEO Corner is the custom URL that goes along with it. But the name of the name that the channel is on is CEO Corner. And so you can look that up, or you can go there. There is going to be a link in one of the cards that come down on the right hand side in the upper right hand corner. If you look up here, you will see that there is a question mark. If you click on that question mark, or if it's an exclamation mark, you can click on it. Okay, so when you click on it, what it will do is it will bring up for you. Actually, it's neither a question mark or exclamation mark. It's an I, a small I. If you click on it, what you will see is you will see those cards that's on the right hand side of the screen. So in the upper right hand side, if you click on the I, what you're going to see is our CEO's personal station, and it's called GAH CEO Corner. You can click on there, and what I'm doing, I'm uploading different videos where I talk about different things that CEOs, that me, myself as a CEO, go through with building businesses, and the things that go on in life, and business building, things that go on in life, family. It's just more on a personal level where you can get to know me. You can get to know extensions of me, which are family members, friends, or people that I work with as partnerships and network with, who have things that I think you might want to hear and know about and learn about. And there are quite a few of my family members who have their own businesses. And so one of the things that I'm opting to do is to promote their businesses on my channel as well. And as their channel grows, as my channel grows, and as you guys watch more and more of my videos, you'll also be able to find them as well, because I'll be promoting them for the things that they're doing, things that they're accomplishing. And I'm also going to do interviews with them. Some are Skype, some are going to be one-on-one, some are going to be using Skype, and others are going to be live, at that time, so that you can learn how they too are growing their businesses, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's colleagues, whether it's partners, other vendors. I'm going to also be doing those things on the personal side, as well as on the GA's consulting side. It's going to stay in strictly towards everything that's going on at GAH Consulting and the things that we're accomplishing within the company, the Build a Business workshop, and any other resources or services or programs that stem from and are developed through that company will also be promoted on GAH Consulting TV. However, from GAH CEO Corner, which is a sister brand of GH Consulting TV, where it's going to be more along the lines of the different things that I am into, um, things that I want to promote, people I think that you might want to hear from, and some of the things from CEO Corner will also be uploaded onto GH Consulting, depending on whether or not I think it's something that could be extremely useful to you guys. Okay, but I am going to be doing videos on a personal note outside of the GH Consulting, but it's still a part of the brand. It's just things that's coming from me, through me on a personal level, for the different things that I'm doing, I'm into, and that I'm interested about. Okay, so it's going to be one of the. I have doctors, nurses, also um, those that are building their business right now. They're in the beginning stages, so that everyone is doing something in different stages. And I'm going to do my best to get videos, or I'm doing interviews, or I'm recording them as they're going through different processes in their business. Okay, so that's what's going to happen on there. Just make sure that you reach up in the top and you take a look at the different cards that's on there. You get to see playlists. You get an to pop over to GHCO Corner when you have the opportunity to. There's not much over there. It's just recently started it. So it's going to grow just as this station is growing. You also will see a card on here that will get you to our corporate website. That's gailahenry.com, www.gailahenry.com, www.gailahenry.com. You can go there and you can find out more about our company, our services, and any products that we have to offer. Our social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn are all under GAH Consulting. Our Google Plus and our YouTube page, GAH Consulting TV. Please like, subscribe, follow, and comment on all or any of our social media platforms that you enjoy. Wherever you are, we're there too. Pop over, take a look at what we have to offer to you, different information that we have to offer, news, updates. Go ahead and subscribe, especially to this channel. You can subscribe down here. Just click the subscribe button, and anytime we post a video and it's ready to go, you will get a notification on your cell phone or your computer, anywhere that you have access to the app. It will pop up and let you know that there's a new video that's being uploaded from GAH Consulting or GAH CEO Corner that I'd like for you to pop over and subscribe to that as well. Thank you for watching. This is Gayle Henry Walker from GH Consulting, and this is the fourth workshop in our Build a Business Workshop series. This one was titled, What's in a Name? Thank you for joining us, and have a blessed and wonderful day. Bye bye.